Jace Fox has found himself between a rock and a hard place as he is forced to deliver justice while also outrun the Magistrate. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Future State, the next Batman issue number 3, the penultimate issue, and find out together, shall we? So then, at the end of the last issue, this new Batman had managed to apprehend a murderous couple who had committed vigilante justice against the man who hurt their daughter. This was already a hell of a complicated situation that was having Jace ask a lot of very important and very tough questions about himself, but before he could ever come to any real answer, the Magistrate ended up cornering all of them. Batman vows to protect this couple despite their crime, saying that they surrendered to him and as such they are under his protection, and despite the fact that they had committed a horrible crime, they deserve to stand trial and not be shot in the street like rabid animals. Of course, getting out of this situation is going to be difficult as the Magistrate has sent a small army as well as drones to try and apprehend Batman. Now, as we saw in the previous issue, Jace isn't nearly as tech savvy as Bruce was in his prime, but ultimately he doesn't have to be. He gets by on sheer tenacity, and when push comes to shove, he's not afraid to throw a rock at some of these drones. I mean, you know, it worked for Killer Croc in his day, why shouldn't it work now? Man, these rocks are really effective, you should start carrying them around in your bat belt or something. Now, this issue actually features several rather interesting asides to see what else is happening in Gotham. For one, we actually get to check back on in with Peacekeeper 1, the de facto leader of the Magistrate. He tears a big old strip out of Agent Stans for failing to apprehend this new Batman. It's here we discover that not all the fascist rent-a-cops on the Magistrate's payroll exactly respect Peacekeeper 1. In fact, Agent Stans, as we discover, thinks there's something fishy about Peacekeeper 1's big story about taking down the original Batman all by his lonesome. Which we as the reader obviously know from reading Dark Detective that Peacekeeper 1 has been lying this whole time. He didn't actually kill the original Batman. We also get to check back on in with the regular GCPD this issue and see none other than Police Commissioner Renee Montoya. It had been teased that she got that job in a previous issue, and here we see it confirmed. Granted, Montoya can't exactly be the most effective cop in the world with the Magistrate always breathing down her neck. In fact, it's all she can do to try and protect her own cops from getting shot in the street. This is why she tells Detective Chubb, the cop that we had met in the first issue, to drop this newest Batman-related murder case if the Magistrate are so interested in it. And lastly, we actually get to peek back on in at the Fox family home, where we see that Lucius and his wife are actually embroiled in one heck of an argument right now. Tanya and Lucius still may very well be anti-superhero and pro-Magistrate, yet at the same time they don't agree with each other about the minutiae of it all. It's the Fox's youngest daughter, Tiffany, who overhears this and decides to finally try and have it out with her brother Luke, asking him point blank if he is the new Batman. And as we all now know, he most certainly is. And what's hilarious is that when Luke goes on his little spiel here, he says that he doesn't believe Jace could possibly be Batman either because it's just not in him. But as he had learned from all the years as Batwing, any person willing to put on a mask and go out to try and make such a terrible city like Gotham a better place, well, they can't possibly be all bad now, can they? We also get teased with some more interesting nuggets of backstory for Jace as well. You see, he got shot in that battle with the Magistrate and needs to get this killer couple to help him cauterize the wound with a road flare. Turns out Jace's body is covered in some really horrifying scars. The couple assumes that this is from other battles with the Magistrate, only for Jace to tell them that no, he actually got those in his other life, whatever that means. With little options left and the Magistrate slowly but surely closing in, Jace decides to pull off one hell of a Hail Mary play. He gets in contact with Detective Chubbs and asks her to come pick up the two fugitives. They'll get their day in court and the Magistrate will be denied a kill. It's not a pretty win, but it's as close to a win as our hero is going to get. Unfortunately, the husband in this scenario does not like this. Despite being saved and protected at every turn, this guy figures that maybe if he kills the new Batman, then the Magistrate will let him and his wife go. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off next issue. Now, this video is getting long as it is, but we do actually have two rather interesting backup stories, so I'll try and get through them as quick as I can. First up, we got a continuation of the Outsider story from issue 1 of the next Batman. Katana gets a chance to finally meet with Jefferson, who has become a being of pure lightning. I had jumped to the conclusion that this had something to do with science, but in fact it actually had something to do with magic. Jefferson also ends up jumping into one of Katana's swords and becoming a lightning sword, which is cool as fuck. Together, they have to assist Duke, who is still running an underground railroad for people in Gotham, and his operation is under great threat when it turns out one of the people he was smuggling was also working for the Magistrate. In the end, they manage to save those people, and Duke even gets himself one hell of an upgrade, a big sword for himself that also has the spirit of electric black lightning in it. So yeah, he gets a big sword and a stand, and he's basically an anime character, and this is cool as shit. Then after that, we have the conclusion of that Arkham Knights story that I was loving so much, and still really hope that this one eventually spins off into its own series when Future State is done. Astrid Arkham and her ragtag team of Batman supervillains get tipped off to the Magistrate moving a massive shipment of weapons. Of course, this is all just one giant trap set up by Peacekeeper 1 and Peacekeeper 6 to finally, hopefully, catch the Arkham Knights and kill them once and for all. A simple plan of attack ends up getting much more complicated when Arkham Knight member Dr. Phosphorus continues to get sick and eventually die in the arms of Astrid, which, really affects her because she is this kind of warrior healer who cares so much about trying to save the minds, bodies, and souls of all of these former villains. The big twist is that the Arkham Knights weren't actually ever going after the thing the Magistrate assumed they were going after. Instead, they stormed the old Gotham City Police Department so they can steal back the bat signal. Because Astrid Arkham knows full well the power of symbols, and that if the Arkham Knights are ever going to be taken seriously as the saviors of Gotham, then they need a symbol of their own to shine in the sky to let people know that they're out there, and they end up doing just that, and the son of Arkham flies high over Gotham. And so that was Future State the Next Batman issue number 3, everybody, and this issue had a lot going on for it, not just for Jace Batman, but also for a lot of the supporting characters happening around the periphery. I truly wonder what kind of conclusion, if any, we're actually going to end up seeing for this story. Again, Future State seems a lot like a stopgap measure, but the Next Batman is an interesting case because Ridley was always going to be writing this character regardless, and we already know a new series for Jace Batman has already been greenlit. I just hope we get a satisfactory conclusion and all these different story plates they've been spinning don't either become forgotten or just crash down on us. What works about the story continues to work, though. I love the idea of this new Batman facing some really difficult moral questions in this dark, messed up Future State future, and how Jace may actually be a little bit more trusting and a little bit more forgiving than Bruce, and how that may actually end up being a weakness for him in certain situations. Overall, I'd give this one an 8 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Jewel, and if you're seeing me right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, which I am very appreciative of. It really helps drive engagement and retention and all that other good YouTube stuff. So does liking and commenting. Wink wink. If you like my content too, you should check out my Patreon page. We just redid all the tiers, so there's a ton of great rewards. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, and well, it would just really help me out. It's never expected, but always appreciated. So until next time everyone, I've been Cape Joel, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.